Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to see about working of a dry cell or a dry Leclanche cell. In the last video, I have explained about different sizes of battery and capacity of the battery and application of the battery depending upon the different sizes. So if you need, go and click the link given in the description, and let us see how the battery will work. That is how we are getting the current from the battery. So in this video only we are going to see about working principle of dry cell, right? So see in this diagram, this is the dry cell. These dry cell is normally used in torchlight, transistor, and wall clocks, etc. So now let us see what are the main components of a dry cell. So inside of the dry cell, what are the components are available. So first one is the anode. It is normally a zinc rod, and the second one is the cathode. It is a carbon rod, and third one is the electrolyte. It is the powder of ammonium chloride, and also carbon, magnesium oxide, magnesium dioxide, and zinc chloride also used as a electrolyte. So if you take any cell, it may be a rechargeable or non-rechargeable battery or cell. Normally we are having these three main components like anode, cathode, and also electrolyte. So depending upon the type of electrode, like anode and cathode and the electrolyte, so depending upon the type of electrolyte and the anode and cathode used, the cells are classified into different types, like lithium ion battery, like that. So in this video only we are going to see about the zinc carbon battery, how the zinc carbon battery or the dry cell will work, and how it supplies the current to the load. So here see, if we open the dry cell, we can view the different parts of that battery. So here I have taken WA dry cell. So here see the different components are marked. That is, the first one is the outer tin casing. So we can view this everyday battery like this, and inside of that outer tin case we can view the zinc container, that is a zinc casing. So inside of the zinc casing normally we are having the magnesium dioxide electrol powder, and again the porous part inside of that we are placing the carbon rod, and the positive terminal and negative terminal, and also the seal cap. So these are all the parts we can view if we are going to open the dry cell or battery. And so first one is the outer tin casing and the zinc casing, and in that zinc casing or in that tank we are placing the MnO2 mixture and the carbon rod. So this zinc casing and the carbon rod will act as the electrodes, anode and cathode, and the positive plate is connected to the cathode, and negative plate is normally connected to the anode, and the seal cap is used to enclose that particular cell. So see this diagram, it shows what are all the things we can view. That is the zinc casing, it will act as the anode. The outer zinc casing, it will act as the anode, that is one of the electrode, and that in the tank itself we are having the mixture of ammonium chloride, manganese dioxide, and zinc chloride. So these are all act as the electrolyte, and this is the carbon rod, it will act as the cathode, and in between the anode and cathode, right? So this cathode and the zinc container, there is a separator is placed. So the main purpose of the separator is it is used to separate the anode and the cathode. Okay, so to avoid the connection between the anode and cathode, the separator is placed in between the anode and cathode rod. So normally this dry cell battery is used to create the potential difference, that is it is used to give the voltage of 1.5 volt. It is normally used in the wall clock, torchlight, and also transistors. So see another one view of this dry cell. So in that cell we can see the zinc, right? Zinc container will act as the anode and the carbon rod will act as the cathode. So normally that carbon rod is placed inside of the that is a mixture of carbon and magnesium dioxide, and the electrolyte is placed after the magnesium dioxide and carbon powder paste. After that we are placing the electrolyte, that is the ammonium chloride and the zinc chloride. So normally here the zinc will act as the anode, but that zinc is not a pure form. Some amount of lead is added into the zinc rod, that is the 0.04 percentage of lead is added to the zinc rod, so that it is corrosive resistance. So if you are using the pure zinc rod as the electrode, means it is easily corroded. To avoid the corrosion, the zinc is normally added with some amount of lead, and so that we can make it as corrosive resistance. And the carbon rod or graphite rod will act as the cathode. So this carbon rod is normally placed inside of the magnesium dioxide and the carbon powder. So the carbon powder is mainly used to increase the conductivity of the carbon rod, so that the carbon rod is surrounded by a mixture of magnesium dioxide and the carbon powder, and the electrolyte is nothing but ammonium chloride and the ZnCl2, that is zinc chloride. So actually the battery means the chemical energy is converted into electricity. So normally the chemical like different rods, zinc and carbon rod, two dissimilar metal rods, and are placed in the electrolyte, so that the chemical reaction will take place between the rod and the electrolyte. Due to the chemical reaction, the electricity will be produced. So that is the main working principle. So this is the another one view of the dry cell battery. So we can clearly see the what are the anode, and so the zinc can will act as the anode. So this is the outer cover metal jacket, and the insulator is placed between the anode and cathode, and the paste of MnO2, ZnCl2 and ammonium chloride will act as the electrolyte. It is placed between the anode and cathode, and the porous paper, it is used to separate the anode and cathode. That is, the movement of ion between the anode and cathode is restricted by means of the porous paper. So if you are not placing any porous paper between that anode and cathode, means automatically there is a short circuit between the anode and cathode will happen. So to avoid that, the insulation is provided between the anode and cathode, and that asphalt shield is nothing but is used to restrict the flow of electrolyte from inside of the battery to outside. And the aerospace also provided, and the positive terminal of the battery is connected to the cathode carbon rod or graphite rod, and the negative terminal of the battery is normally connected to zinc rod, that is the anode. So these are all the construction of a dry cell. Now let us see how does cell or battery supply current to the load. Okay, so what will happen inside of the battery, how the chemical reaction will occur, and due to the chemical reaction how the electricity will be produced, and it is used to operate the load, right? So let us see. So consider this is a container. So just we are placing the zinc rod, it is the anode, already I said that, and in the porous part there is a mixture of carbon and magnesium dioxide is placed in the porous part, and in the inside of the porous part the carbon rod is inserted, so that the carbon rod will act as the cathode, right? So just we are placing the two dissimilar metal rod, anode and cathode, zinc rod and the carbon rod. So the zinc will be added with some amount of lead, so that the corrosion may be avoided, corrosion of the zinc may be avoided, and the carbon rod is normally coated with the carbon and the manganese dioxide material, so that the conductivity of the carbon rod will be increased, that will act as the cathode. Now the electrolyte is nothing but, already I said that ammonium chloride and the zinc chloride will act as the electrolyte. So in the electrolyte, inside of the electrolyte, the zinc rod and the carbon rod is placed. Then the separator is placed in between the anode and cathode. That is, the movement of ions between the anode and cathode is restricted or avoided by means of this separator. Otherwise, if the separator is not provided, means automatically the ions are moving from the zinc to carbon, so some short circuit may occur. So to avoid the movement of electrons, the separator is placed in between the anode and the cathode. Now the negative terminal of the battery is connected to the anode and the positive terminal of the battery is connected to the cathode. Now we are going to insert the load. We are going to connect the lamp or load, so in a positive and negative terminal. So in the any type of battery, whenever we are going to connect the load, at the time only the chemical reaction will happen inside of the battery. Until there is no chemical reaction will happen. So whenever we are externally, we are going to connect the load, at the time only the electrolyte and also metals like zinc and carbon metals are reacted. That is, the chemical reaction between the electrolyte and the metal rod will happen. So what are the chemical reactions will happen means, in the zinc rod, the oxidation process, that is, the oxidation is the chemical reaction. Oxidation means it is the releasing of electrons. The zinc rod, the oxidation process, chemical reaction will happen because it is placed in the electrolyte, right? Whenever we are externally, we are going to connect the load, at that time the chemical reaction between the electrolyte and the rods will happen. So the zinc, between the zinc rod and the electrolyte, the oxidation process will occur. Oxidation means the releasing of electrons. That is, the zinc rod, it releases more number of electrons. And in the cathode, the reduction process, that is, the chemical reaction in the cathode is reduction process. It means it's the gaining of electrons, right? So if the separator is not placed in between the anode and cathode, automatically the electron from the zinc electrode directly go and reach the carbon electrode. Here the separator is placed in between the anode and cathode, so the ion cannot directly move from zinc to carbon. It needs alternate path. The alternate path is normally provided by this load. This load will provide the alternate path. So the oxidation process means the zinc gain more number of electrons, so it releases the more number of electrons. That electrons are normally attracted by the cathode. That is, the electrons will starts moving from this path and finally it reaches the cathode. So the cathode, the reduction process means it gains the electrons. So that the movement of electrons from anode to cathode is called as current flow, right? So whenever we are going to connect the load, at that time the chemical reaction like oxidation occur at the zinc metal and the reduction process will happen at the carbon metal, so that the excess amount of electron from the anode starts flowing from anode to cathode. So that movement of electrons from anode to cathode is nothing but current flow. That is, anode is having the more number of electrons, so it starts flow from that anode. So but the cathode is ready to gain the electrons, so automatically we are getting the potential difference between the anode and cathode. So the electrons are moving from anode to cathode. Due to that the lamp will glow. That is, the movement of electron is nothing but current flow. Due to the current flow, the lamp will glow. So this is the main working principle of dry cell or Lagrange cell. So in the wet Lagrange cell, they are using the jelly form of ammonium chloride as the electrolyte, but the dry cell, there are powder form of ammonium chloride, magnesium dioxide and carbon mixture. These are all used as the electrolyte. And in that dry cell battery is used to produce the potential difference of 1.5 volt, and it is used in the torchlight, wall clock and also transistors. So in this type of battery, if as the day goes, what will happen, the amount of electrons supplied by the zinc electrode may reduced. And due to that, it is not having the capacity to supply the electrons to the cathode. So there is no electrons from anode to cathode. Due to that, the battery is going to die. So it is the use and throw battery. It is a non-rechargeable battery, means once the capacity of the electron supplied by the zinc reduced, means automatically the life of the battery is going down, and finally it is use and throw battery. And so if it's a it is a non-rechargeable battery, that's why we can't use if the capacity is going down. So these are all about the working principle of dry cell or Lagrange cell battery. And my next video is about rechargeable battery, and what are the types of batteries depending upon the type of electrode and the electrolyte used. So for more videos, subscribe my channel, Triple Encyclopedia. Thank you.